we've learned so far all of the parts that we need to learn to make our web page. So we've learned, well, maybe not everything yet. We haven't learned scripting yet, but we've learned HTML and CSS and how to make images, and also how to embed audio and information from other websites. I'm going to just make sure I can see the chat so that I can let people in. Okay, so yes, so we've learned all the parts to make our website. We've learned HTML, which is kind of the base of everything. We've learned CSS, the styling. We've learned how to make raster and vector image files. We kind of thought a little bit about media, movies, sound, and just generally embedding data from and media from other websites, which the internet is all just one big embedding, like, network glob. Like, every website just basically has stuff in it that's in another website, and vice versa. So those are all of our parts that we're working with, and now we get to think, kind of step back and think in a greater scope about the design and the layout of our content. So this is right here an image of what's called wireframing, and it is, or layout design. It's kind of between the two because it has the text in it as well. And basically this is a representation of the content on different websites and where it would go, based on just kind of the blocks of the content. So instead of coding it in CSS and laying it out in HTML, you take a pencil and a paper and decide what your parts are. And without thinking about the code, take some time to just think about purely, like, in a world where anything was possible, how would you want to lay out your website? And I highly recommend this approach while designing. Just don't think about the code at all. Think about how you want your website to look and behave and what you want it to do. And then once you start laying it out, you'll find that you can probably just find the code you need online. You can find a template maybe that someone has made. You can find an explanation. You can find a tutorial on W3 Schools. Like, you can find all the bits that you need to make your vision a reality. So that's a good way to work when thinking about design. So here we have a bunch of, like, conceptual layouts of pages, including blocks of text. So let's see what's next. Can I go next? Okay. So yeah. Wireframing allows you to plan the layout of your website, and it's the process of making your design decisions before the implementation. So like I said, before you start coding it, you can just kind of dream up what a page can be. And it can range from a simple drawing, kind of like this one, to, like, almost a working copy of your website. There's programs like OmniGraffle, which are map making, like network, like graph making software. And you can actually link the different nodes of graphs to each other, like kind of making them behave like hyperlinks. So you can get, like, super close to making a functional web page in the graphing software, which is kind of pretty funny and interesting. An interesting design process that you could take. So yeah, here's our planning. So this is an example of a wireframe that is much more involved than this one right here. So now we're starting to lay out, explain what the different parts are. Maybe we're even writing down what classes we're going to call things so that we can plan our CSS document, our future CSS document, and our future HTML document. So we're adding a bit of information. And here's this slide is very good. So these slides are made by Joshua Clayton, who's who's like the wrangler of all of the intro web classes. So these are the top level slides for our class. And yeah, this is a very good slide to remember while you're in the design process. You know, take a moment to think, like sometimes close the computer, and just imagine what you would want your website to be like. Draw it out, and then build it, get feedback from yourself or from other people who are using your website, and revise your design based on that. And the other kind of keyword for today, or topic to remember, is the sitemap. So we have here our wireframe, which is one way of looking at a website. So this is looking at it kind of top down, purely from the design aspect, like not looking super closely to the content. They're not describing the images that are here, for example, or the text. And then this is kind of almost a bottom up, you could say, way of looking at it, where we start looking at the website as a database, and as a series of interconnected content blocks. And you can often see that this might look similar to this, in that we have like this home page. Well, here we have maybe this top bar, this menu bar, that takes us home and has a search on it, right? So everything does stem out of that. Like this could be like the sidebar. This could be the actual content in the middle of the page, right here. So there is something about the sitemap that mirrors sometimes the wireframe, but they are two different things. But I do like that, like the database kind of also visualizes itself, if that makes any sense. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a sitemap of our class website, and so that we can decide how we might better organize it. So our class website is not this. Nope. Come on. Here we go. So this is our class website. This website is all on one page, and it has different blocks and links inside of it. Cool. Okay. It has different blocks and links inside of it. But it's all just kind of like, it's a big dump of all the data. And we have our class notes section with the videos. This is so annoying to me. This is NYU's video server like protections. I need to download that video and repost it. But yeah, we have our videos. And then at the bottom we have our syllabus. All the topics that we're covering, a link to the textbook. There we go. All the things are here. But maybe this is not a very well-designed site, right? And we might want to redesign it. So how might we go about that? So one way would be to start with a wireframe and imagine like our ideal website. And the other way would be if you were, for example, a designer who got a client like me who had already made this website, who already had all the information there and just wanted it to be designed a certain way. Then you might say, okay, I have to go through this and like understand what's actually in here before I can make decisions about it. So we can look at our code. So let's look at it again. So I was scrolling through this website. Do you all see the website? The purple stars background? Okay, so here's our website. So it's all one big data dump. As I mentioned, we have resources, we have assignments. We do have a menu up here. But then when you get, for example, to the syllabus, how do you go back? So maybe we would want to have a menu that travels with us, a better way of organizing this information. This does scroll very well on the phone though, since it's all one column already. So, okay. All right, so I will open Illustrator because that's the software I have for wireframing. And if it ever opens, we can start making a sitemap. So you could also do this in Google Draw. I think that's what it's called, Google Draw, or Google Docs in general. You can have shapes in there, and that's a good way to work if you're working with other people, because you can both access the same document at the same time. But I'm going to make it in Illustrator because that's what I have here. So here I have like the title information, so I can write out. And then below that, I had a menu. And the menu goes to 4 distinct places that are almost like, we could say, 4 distinct pages. So this is simultaneously mapping the relationship between the links and what they do and like the documents, the pages themselves. And in here we had resources, syllabus, assignments, and class notes. And within each of these kind of blocks of data, we have all of the different days, right? So there's assignment 1, up until 9. And then for class notes, we have all the weeks. So this might be something that we would decide to turn into a link within the same page, or maybe we would want to make a different page for every week. Something we can decide. Okay, so how about the syllabus? Do we have sections in there? Let's take a look. We have the description of the class. We have the lecture topics. So the lecture topics could potentially become links to link back to the weeks, for example, or the classes or something like that. That's something we could consider. what else do we have in here? Textbook, and we have all sorts of like resource-like information about tutors and the software that you're expected to have. My computer is extremely slow. Textbook. We'll be working from the textbook in 2 weeks. So that's cool. And I will download the chapters that we need for us. So if you did not get the textbook, don't worry. Okay. Our last part was resources. It's right here. So we have office hours, tutoring, information about the major. Okay, so this seems like a very small amount of information to me, so I don't think it actually maybe even needs a subsection of any kind. It's just there. And that's our website. That's pretty much it. So we've kind of made a sitemap. It has things stacked in a certain order, but what we didn't specify here is if these are different pages or if this is just different sections of information or what we want it to be.